It's Tuesday, January 11, 2023. I'm Andy Johnson. I want to welcome to the program. This is AM Prime here on WESN. Let's tell you what's happening in this edition of the program. In the second hour, we'll be talking with the owners and operators of a company called A&J Homemade Ice Cream. They were among the top award winners at last year's function of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. They won an award in this Champions of Business Gala that they had, and they won the award for entrepreneurship. We'll talk with them in the second hour of the program. I was discussing that yesterday with Dr. Ramesh Ramdeen, the CEO of the Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association, the changing face of the Chamber of Commerce in Trinidad and Tobago. That is what was on display that evening at Napa for that gala celebration. So we'll talk with the owners, Junan and Anthony Henry of A&J Homemade Ice Cream, how they got to where they are now. They discussed some of the things about the struggle to take on board such a business and to prosper it to the point where they receive this kind of recognition, and going forward, how they try to treat with it. Also, we're talking this morning with Ms. Gemma Bedlow, Ms. Eugene Job Davis. She's somebody from the political past. She was a member of parliament in Tobago in the PNM. She's involved now in Carnival. I think she's always been involved in culture and cultural activities like that. But they team up as the members of the Carnival Mass Band Association in Tobago. How are they going to deal with the regular Carnival in weeks from now? What is happening on the ground there? We're also supposed to be talking with Dr. Everil Hussain. He's a former journalism teacher, and he's calling on newspapers in particular to stop what he says, the blood and gore, the count on the front page of people killed and how. And he said we should get more into investigative journalism about categorizing the kinds of murders and probably get behind why. So those things and more we take you around the region, and to some extent we'll tell you what's happening further afield on this edition of the program. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly from now.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
The best laptops and tablets are at dbesttoys.com. Get a Gateway 14.1-inch Ultra Slim notebook or an HP 14-inch laptop at the best prices in TNT. Get the Fire 7 tablet for $474. You can also shop the latest Amazon Fire Sticks. Call now at 32-DBEST to order, or visit us in-store at Forces Flagship MacBean. Shop online now at dbesttoys.com. Free delivery available throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Cash or links on delivery.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, the Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity, from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378, or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
Every word, every line, every paragraph depicts a real moment in someone's life. A father, a sister, a mother, a brother. We at Newsday are dedicated to you, the people, and through independent, unwavering journalism, strive to always bring your stories to life. Because your stories are more than just words. Newsday, independent and credible.
The issue, the continued rise in the price of flour and its impact on the cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago. How should we go about it? I want to ask you, what has been revealed to you about the state of vulnerability in the country because of this exercise and because of what we're going through? Is the government losing the war on the vaccine front?
The discussion should revolve around the common good for the greatest number of people in Trinidad and Tobago.
How do we inculcate a sense of respect and regard for people who may not be of your own political ilk or persuasion?
The communities are now being used by political opportunists. So
when the tables are turned, it's the same way. Okay, this has been 10 questions. I'm Andy Johnson, and we'll see you next time.
What's the best way to grab the attention of viewers?
Please exercise more patience. You have to be kidding me.
Doing what we do best. I'll say at the very least it's a conspiracy of laziness against the people.
Join me, Keaton Shaw.
And me, Sean Michael Small, for Talking Point.
Weekdays from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m.
We go in-depth on the trending issues and engage the most controversial newsmakers
as we get them to account to the people for their actions.
You can't go to the government with nothing. You can't go to cabinet with an empty hand, with a wish.
I'm glad that we're having this a sober, mature discussion.
In the present situation, I expect a continuation of the chaos.
Join us for the discussion, Mondays to Fridays,
only on WESN,
the content capital.
Is it politics? What is it? Is it that nobody cares about sports?
The kind of support that sport used to get in the past is no longer here.
The thing is, taking a knee doesn't mean that that's the only thing you're doing now, Andy.
Right.
Taking a knee along with other stuff.
Samantha, what are you looking forward to when you return home to Trinidad and Tobago after winning the title?
Thank you very much for speaking it into existence.
Is it no pressure on Nicholas Ball?
It makes me more motivated to work hard and to go out there and rep the red, white and black.
Why are we sending a team to the Winter Olympics?
There are a number of Trinbagonians who are in the diaspora and have grown up in winter sport. It's an opportunity that the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee will not close the door.
I also believe in the players that we have. Once you can motivate the players, you can get the best out of them.
Every day, we communicate through stories. Stories of ourselves, our challenges, our goals, our experiences, and our aspirations. Storytelling is an art that we have mastered. WESN Film Studios comprises a collaborative team of experts with extensive industry experience locally, regionally, and internationally. The ability of your business to successfully communicate with your preferred audience depends on the strength of the stories you tell. Your vision should be communicated in a high-quality, professional, and creative way. From concept to post-production, advertising to film, multi-camera productions, live events, streaming, and virtual conferencing, we are WESN Film Studio. Let your own unique voice be heard and your vision realized. Call us today at 628-5835 for your next production.
All right, welcome back to the program. We want to make a divergence from the normal rundown on the program as we do. We're working some things out, but let's start with a look at what's happening around the region. And we go to St. Lucia, where the Labour Party there has roundly condemned a united PAC Facebook post that the incumbent described as an attempt to impugn the integrity of the Prime Minister, Philip J. Pierre. We have a report from HTS News Force.
Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre has made good on a promise to initiate the paperwork that could lead to legal action against publisher United PAC for alleged libelous accusations made against him via a Facebook post. The government leader has requested that the administrators of the page, aligned to the Conservative Party movement in St. Lucia, retract the alleged defamatory statements or face the legal consequences of a civil lawsuit in the courts. The St. Lucia Labour Party has joined the political leader and Prime Minister in admonishing the Facebook page that, according to the incumbent, attempts to malign the reputation and integrity of the Castries East MP.
The SLP condemns United PAC for unfounded accusations against political leader and Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre. United PAC, a known mouthpiece of the United Workers' Party, continues to issue false and unfounded statements on their media pages against the political leader and Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre.
The Post made accusations of the receipt of gifts that the office of the Prime Minister says are totally false and malicious. The political directorate says the baseless claims are intended to damage and injure the reputation and character of the Prime Minister, both in his professional and private capacities. SLP Communications Director Lisa Jouahir reiterates that the publishers have been forewarned to take down the defamatory content.
The St. Lucia Labour Party condemns the repeated and dangerous actions by United PAC and unequivocally supports and applauds the political leader for his bold decision to clear the air on these untruths and protect his reputation. The time has now come for the United Workers' Party and its operatives to come forward and present evidence to justify their accusations or face further legal action.
As of news time, the Facebook page United PAC has kept the December 27th post in question on platform and published apparent additional content related to the allegations, despite threats of legal action and condemnation. The SLP is praising the political leader for fighting back against what it sees as the trafficking of falsehoods and the blatant disregard for the truth.
The SLP recognizes that this is an honest effort to stop the spread of false information that continues to harm the general public and the reputation of members of Parliament.
The attorneys acting on behalf of the Prime Minister, in a letter dated January 5th, warn that should United PAC fail to heed the request for a retraction and removal, quote, that our client will take all necessary steps to institute legal proceedings to vindicate his reputation and hold accountable all those who are involved in the illicit and malicious attack on his reputation, character, and credibility.
All right, we take a look at development in Jamaica at this time. With the Steertown Academy, people there are under investigation after an alleged cheating occurred in the 2022 CSEC examinations. And we have this report from TVJ.
Did students at the St. Anne-based Steertown Academy obtain CSEC exam papers before the sitting of the exam?
This is the subject of an investigation by the Overseas Examination Council.
TVJ News understands that the Parent Teachers Association has called an emergency meeting over concerns that the consequences of this development could affect the start of the new school term next week.
Anthony Lugg reports.
There was jubilation at the Steertown Academy in St. Anne last year after the school's performance in the 2022 CSEC exams. The school outperformed many traditional high schools in Region 3 in subjects like mathematics and music. In fact, it was ranked #1 in the Caribbean in music. But news surfaced weeks after the results that the students allegedly cheated. It's alleged that a teacher facilitated the cheating, but the principal denies that any cheating took place. TVJ News has learned that the Overseas Examination Council has written to the Ministry of Education indicating that it has sufficient evidence to conduct an investigation into the allegations. That probe is expected to get underway sometime this month. As such, the principal, the examinations coordinator, the acting grade supervisor, the mathematics teacher, and the special education coach have been placed on special leave effective January 1. It's understood that members of the school's PTA have objected to the special leave. They've planned an emergency meeting on Thursday. When contacted, the education minister declined comment, saying that the matter is now in the hands of the Overseas Examination Council.
Welcome back to the program. We'll be talking now with Ms. Gemma Bedlow, and we will be joined moments from now by Ms. Eudine Job. They are members of the Carnival Mass Band Association in Tobago. One is chairman, one is deputy chairman. We're starting with Ms. Bedlow, and Ms. Job will join us moments from now. $1.3 million allocated for the festivals around Carnival in Tobago for 2023. How is that going to? Well, Ms. Bedlow, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning, sir.
All right. The sense I have is, this is not a whole bunch of change. $1.3 million. That is coming from where? From the THA. That's from the government of Trinidad and Tobago. Who made this allocation?
The 1.3 million have been allocated by the Tobago House of Assembly for Carnival 2023 in the area of Mass. 1.3 million cannot run the Carnival because the bands, Tobago Mass have all different parts. You have the Kings and Queen, the Juve, the Night Mass, the traditional Mass, all of those things. And if I have to work with 1.3, that takes me back in 2,000 prizes, where banner of the year is $60,000. Right now, sir, Samaru have one peacock feather for $1,000. The grants and all is not sufficient, but the grants is just an assistant to help them to start the mass or whatever. It's just an assistant. But I had back-to-back meeting with the band leaders, and the band leaders is not accepting 1.3 million.
So, I mean, what are the options facing the association and facing the community, the mass community there then?
Sir, the bands and them need to step up the game with production. You want more money? I will fight for it. But your product in mass must be attractive to the patriots of Tobago. The problem in Tobago is, I may be honest and fair, the produce of your mass, it's not attractive. So what I'm trying to do is to bring back the carnival as I know it's supposed to. Hence is where the reason I am asking band to merge, because the problem in Tobago is you get a grant and at the end of the day you're seeing 3 and 4 people in a section. That is not good enough. That is not good enough because the authorities is saying that you give a grant, you want prizes, but your production in the streets of Tobago is not attractive to anybody.
All right, I think we're seeing Ms. Job in the frame. Are you there with us, ma'am? Good to see you.
Good morning, Mr. Johnson. Are you hearing me?
Very well.
Okay.
How are you?
Thank you. I am quite good, thanks.
All right, you want to join the discussion? At any point you want to make it, you can.
Okay, well, you know, my role is not mass playing or mass production. My role is very supportive of the chairman and looking at the budget and prizes and maybe looking at the economics of the thing, because it seems, I understand Miss Bedlow, my chairman, is saying that the mass producers have to up their game, but then that comes also with training. It comes with, and she's been advocating for training for years, you know, wire bending, and she will tell you the rest. And as we are concerned, even if we do like training in wire bending, it is not just for the mass community. Wire bending can extend throughout Tobago because, you know, we have fishermen, we have people making flower pots and all those things. So it's clear that, to me, this present crop of assembly people, or maybe even before, they don't quite understand the social impact of carnival. We have to, you know, as I always indicate, we have to try to balance the political with the social and the economics. And I saw recently where the Central Statistical Office put out a document that says Trinidad Carnival doesn't make any money. But really and truly, is it about making money? Is it about making a profit? Or is it about supporting persons who the makers and producers of Carnival, and also the citizenry, because, you know, a lot of people look forward to Carnival, and I always believe that Carnival is one aspect of this country that allows people to stay sane in a kind of crazy environment sometimes, right?
It's an escape valve from frustrations of one kind or another.
Exactly. You know, so we can't just look at the money. And in Tobago, we have an issue because we submitted, as Ms. Bedlow would tell you, we submitted $3.7 million. Yes, we can rework it to a point, but if we asking, for example, we saying the king of Carnival, so its price is $30,000. What is wrong with that? Because and she just explained it again, that one feather costs over $500 and all these things. So I don't bring masks, but the mask people will tell you how much money they expend to put out their masks. And clearly, if that is the case, then the assembly needs to look again, and they need to listen, because one of the things that I find with this crop of people is that they don't listen. They come with preset ideas or whatever ideas they have, and they are not listening. As a matter of fact, quite recently I met a former public servant home in Tobago, and, you know, we were discussing the assembly and what it's doing and not doing and so on. And she said to me, Eudine, we don't mind if they don't know what for doing now. But the problem is that they're not take telling. They're not listening to nobody.
I like that phrase, they're not take telling.
They're not take telling. You see? And therefore they have their preset ideas and come with this, oh, Carnival is a business, so you must organize yourself as a business, and you have to find a way to make money. And we didn't come for a lecture. We want to know what is happening with Carnival. And as a matter of fact, this year, it is only last week or week before, last week, Ms. Pedro, when the chairman
last week
announced that there will be Carnival. And people calling me to ask, wait now, Tobago have Carnival, the last thing we hear is Tobago and no Carnival. They're focusing on what, junior mass or something like that. So the Tobagonian people didn't know that we were having Carnival until last week, right? And that is to tell you the kind of respect they have for the culture in this country. Because if we want to develop our country, we have to develop all aspects of it, all right? You can't be giving foreign artists $8 million and $9 million to leave this country, and not 1 cent of that is being spent here. Whereas the people who are responsible for bringing visitors to this country, for generating revenue, whether they make a profit or not is not the issue, because the monies, the multiplier effect of what they are doing is very great, because it goes through from the hotels, the car rentals, the man on the street with the corn soup and whatever. That money generates throughout the economy, and some little people will get some money, but they're not seeing that.
So I just want to ask, as somebody who's had some experience in government and governance at the national level, you find that your experience and advice don't count for much?
No, I'm really, Mr. Johnson, I have stopped talking. I don't speak very much. I only support Gemma, my chairman, in this mass thing because of certain issues with the budget and monetary issues and so on. So I am just there supporting Miss Bedlow, Dennis. As soon as she's gone, I am gone. And I do not voice my opinion. I'm tired of talking, so I stop talking. No, they're just not listening. And $1.3 million is not going to cut it for a Carnival. As a matter of fact, I don't know if she mentioned the meeting we had recently, and mass players were saying, well, we're not playing no mass, we're not going to play no mass, you know, whatever. But I know they're not going to do that. They love the mass. All right, but the assembly needs to support these mass players, and that Secretary for Tourism needs to listen. She needs to take telling, And she needs to understand that she doesn't have all the ideas.
Yeah, so let's come back to you, Ms. Bedler, a little bit. So what is the means by which you move forward then? I mean, what are you doing today, what are you doing this week to try and have this situation addressed more respectfully?
Well, I asked for a meeting again with the secretary based on the meeting we had yesterday at Shore Park Cultural Complex. I was given a mandate by the band leaders. I represent 32 band leaders, and with their mandate, I hope someone calls me today. I have been asking for a meeting with the chief secretary, no avail, but I will still try. I will still try to have that meeting to air the issues of the band leaders, and the issues is they're not accepting the $1.3 million.
So at this point, there may or may not be any parade of bands in Tobago this carnival.
May or may not is correct. As I said, the band leaders mandate me to have a meeting with the chief secretary. I hope I get that meeting, but as it stands, no one contacted me yet. I don't know anything about yet, but this morning I'm going all out to have a meeting with the chairman of the festival board and the secretary, Miss Boris.
Yeah, so, well, the chairman, so Ms. Boris is the secretary, so who's the chairman?
The chairman, no, the CEO of the festival is Mr. John Arnold.
Yes.
The chairman of the festival board is Mr. Thomas.
Dr. Charleston Thomas.
Dr. Charleston Thomas, yes.
And he is a doctor, I think, versed in the cultural aspects.
Yes, yes, he is.
Yeah. So he is well set and he understands what is happening, but then he's constrained by the policymakers.
Yeah. So if it comes down to the person who has the strings of the purse saying, well, this is what we can afford.
Well, the band leaders will have to decide if they will accept or if they will pull out. It's up to the band leaders, but I as head will have to hear what the band leaders decide on that. So say by Monday, I hope I had a meeting by now on Friday, and Monday I go back to the band leaders and hear their view, and I will have a press media briefing on that.
Yeah.
But as a matter of fact, Mr. Johnson, for the Tobago Carnival,
yes,
I was not at the meeting yesterday, but Ms. Bedlow has advised me that band leaders said they spent up to $300,000 and didn't get a cent in return. As a matter of fact, the assembly was adamant that they're not going to pay any, they're not going to pay for any prizes or anything like that. So nobody got any prize money. They just jumped upon the streets and got, I don't know if bragging rights, I'm not too sure what they got for it, but they were complaining that they did not make 1 cent.
Yeah.
Ms. Bedlow could advise you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I'm just saying that tells you the level of respect we have for our artists. And you know, Rolex back Titus, and I may his soul rest in peace. I used to dance in his group when I was, able back in the days. And Ax and I mean, politically we were affiliated. We were affiliated through his culture. We were kind of friends, And Rolex Black Titus was buried yesterday. And I listened to these assemblymen. They've been there for a whole year. Royal Titus was alive. And he has this unpublished book. And so now they come on the stage when he's dead and say, I promise you we're gonna publish the book. What? And these are the things that annoy me. He is alive. Give him his kudos when he can accept it, acknowledge it. No, you wait until he's in a box, you can't hear nothing, and now you're going to publish it. You didn't even talk to him. And you were saying he helped us to win this election. You didn't even help him when he needed it. And so now you're coming when he did to go on the stage to talk,
Yeah, well, that's one of the stories in the Newsday newspaper this morning, that the Chief Secretary is saying that, is making a commitment that the Assembly will finance the publication of his book.
Yeah. Mm.
What, do you know anything about the contents of the book?
No, I know Rolex Baptizers was an anthropologist. And, well, when I was lecturing at THCI, you know, I remember sending one of my students to him because she wanted to do, you know, they had to do projects. And, you know, I used to ask them to do live projects so that if you're doing something, make sure that it's something you can do when you leave school. So she was doing this project on the space side water wheel, I think, or some one of those things. And I asked her, and she came back and she was so effervescent. She was so full of praise for Mr. Titus, you know. And we all know what his contribution to culture could have been. But, you know, somehow emotions get in the way, and me not like you, and me not like this one, and me not like that one. They say, you know, me not do this, and me not support that one. Well, no. We need to stop that foolishness and deal with people who can actually contribute to the progress of Tobago. And he could have done that in no uncertain way, but he was not allowed to in a lot of ways because of personalities, you know. So Axe did not get to do what he could have done for Tobago. As a matter of fact, since he entered Best Village and took Mount St. George twice. First place. That is to tell you, if you could come from Tobago and go to Trinidad and win them, you know, that's what we say. It means that you're really good, you know. So why didn't we use him? He was almost like J.D. Elder. J.D. Elder was the other anthropologist we had.
I wanted to make that connection because I think the period you're talking about there was when J.D. Elder was the man who ran the Best Village competitions and so on.
Exactly. You know, and so we have all these people still in our midst. We have Kennedy Silva, who ran Carnival successfully for how many years? We have Ifibo Wilkinson. We have all these people at our disposal, and we're gonna wait until God called them to jump on a stage and say he was this and he was that. Use them now while they're here. Axe can't help anybody now.
So
you know
what was the issue that probably created the gulf between him and the decision makers over these years because of his politics?
Personality, and probably politics. I'm not sure, but you know, Axe is a African alpha male, if you want to call it that. I don't know how to describe, but he was a very proud guy, you know, and people don't walk. If you walk tall, they vex. If you walk, they vex. So no. I mean, we need to deal with what the person can do and forget whether we like them or not. Yeah? You don't have to like him. Just acknowledge. And, you know, it takes me also to Black Stalin past. And may his soul also rest in peace. I mean, I was a fanatic of Black Stalin. And, you know, I look at our Calypsonians who make calypsos every single year. Let us compare them to Michael Jackson and those guys who make one song in 5 years. You know, every year they come up with. I mean, you listen to the. I put on YouTube sometime, and I kept listening to his songs. And the guy was a messiah. You know, I mean. But we where is our carnival museum? Where is whatever what? Look, Mr. Johnson, I am so upset. I am really, really upset.
I wanted to go back to something you said earlier in giving advice to this young lady who wanted to take some lessons, some courses, and you told her make sure that what she studies, she can use it, you know, after the studies. How critical is that for people making decisions about what they want to do with their lives?
I think it's very critical because, you know, when you're in school, you have all the information at your disposal that you may not get freely after you leave school. So while you have it, use it. And for example, you know, there was the CCC students, and there's this place in Mount St. George where Axe is from, his village. There is a beautiful water wheel or something down in the bottom there. And what are we doing with it? Nothing. So I said, students, go down and, you know, do a project and then take it to the assembly. They're afraid they didn't take it. But they did a wonderful project how they could make that place for visitors and make their money. So if you don't want to support us financially, then support us otherwise. Let us develop Tobago, give our young people a chance. But no, all the money flying out of Tobago again, because you're going to bring this big hotel here and this big hotel there and put a hotel in Killigrew and whatever. And what happens then is that our people remain hewers of wood and drawers of water. And that ought not to be, because the whole essence of the tourism development of which Carnival is a part, it is to actually help your people first and foremost. So if we look at Tobago, we have the East, Far East Electoral District. You know, what do we have up there? We have the rainforest, yes. But what else? You know? And we have people coming from Germany and Trinidad and wherever and doing tours and so on. And our people are just there. How many of our people are involved in tour operations? And, yesterday the cruise ship came in and the cruise ship agent will come from Trinidad. So who the cruise ship is in Tobago? Who from Tobago is doing that? And what is the tourism division doing for Tobagonians to benefit from these things?
All right, another point you made before, I want to come back on this question about how the image that the THA has, at least for some of us in Trinidad, that's not the reality in the ground in Tobago. But before you come to that, you talked about $8 and $9 million going to foreign performers. You're referring to people like the Burner Boys and stuff like that, right? So you say the resources could be found to pay them what they want, but to upkeep something of local culture and value and so on, it's a different story.
Well, I don't know who paid Burna Boy, because I'm trying to find that out, but the information is lacking somewhere. So we are hearing that it is not the assembly where I know. I really tried to find out who paid Burna Boy, and today they are saying, it's not the assembly. Now we don't know, but I'm saying that if you could afford to pay Burna Boy that kind of money, or you're bringing somebody for jazz and you want to pay them $8 million or whatever, $1 million US or whatever, find the money to develop Tobago. Because, Mr. Johnson, I am driving through Tobago now, and there is not almost every inch, every yard I drive is a big pothole. We have the asphalt here, and I don't understand how on earth our roads are so dilapidated, right? It doesn't seem as though anybody, they're looking to do big projects, a stage in the sea that are going on there to watch the stage in the sea, I see part of it go on. So Trinidad, and I like the point you make, because I just want to refer to when I ran for elections many years ago, and Trinidad was saying, PNM can't win Tobago because it's 26 years and PNM will never go back and whatever. But we in Tobago knew what was going on, right? And there were I think one or two Trinidadians were saying, we could take this seat, we could take it. I knew because I walked the ground and I listened to people. So I knew what was happening. But then I am walking the ground and Trinidad has its own opinion and saying, this can't happen and that can't happen, we can't do. So Trinidad has its opinion based on what is on the newspaper, but Trinidad needs to come to Tobago on the ground, talk to the Tobagonians to find out what is happening.
Yeah. All right, let me bring you back into the discussion, Ms. Bedlow. So, I mean, how are you moving forward today, tomorrow? It's still up in the air, you think, but you believe, I mean, both of you have this view that come hell or high water, that some people will come out on the street on those days of the carnival in Trinidad while you plan for your bigger thing later in the year, right? In October, is it?
I am pushing to have this carnival 2023 come off as the national. Hence the reason bands in Tobago make nothing for the October carnival. Not all the bands in Tobago took part in the October carnival. Bands take loan from Island Finance and bank and credit union and struggling now to pay them back because it was said, make your mask and sell. How much mask can be sold? How much? And they are now forcing a 1.3 on us. Well, okay, all you take that. No, This is the national carnival, and as Gypsy and them say, this is the mother of all carnival. We in Tobago is not no child of no mother. We is a mother too. So mother in Trinidad, mother in Tobago, give us the funding to have a grand show. All they want, good mass. Good mass comes with money. And that's what the band leaders and them is upset about and arguing about. They make nothing, no prizes, no grant, nothing.
Yeah.
And in my view, my view, when you take away all them Trinidad kings and queens that passed stage 2017 and 18, what do you get on the street of Scarborough? Can anybody tell me if trucks make, band make, California make, tell me what was made in the October Carnival? No. I know I will be victimized. But let me say this plainly because I get called last night. This is not political. I am not in no political argument with anybody because the meeting was aired last night. And people calling and telling me why I make it political. I say, hello, I had a band leaders meeting to inform the bands of where we are and what we want to do. So I let in Tobagonian and Trinidadian know this is not political. I don't have no argument with no political party or nobody. I am here to improve and develop the mass in Tobago to bring it back that will attract the Caribbean, Trinidad. And because a long time, the carnival was good in Tobago. It was good, but the production of the band leaders has dropped. I am trying to bring up back that level.
Right,
and
it's important that you're making that point, and you're restating that point, that the band leaders themselves have to come better than that. But to what extent, I'm saying that it is important for the band leaders and the producers of the bands themselves to come better than how they're coming. So you put them on notice as well. Well, as you say,
yes.
you would seek to get a greater piece of the pie, but you want them to up their game. To what extent? To what extent did you get any support from the NCC? Because the NCC is the NCC of Trinidad and Tobago, not so?
NCC is a different kettle of fish. I have wrote and have meeting with the chairman, Mr. Gypsy, in the October Carnival, and at the end of the day, he wrote back and said he can't help. You can't help me with certain things for the October Carnival. And I don't want to... Yes, ma'am?
To give him credit, right? The letter, he acknowledged our letter, he met with us based on Mrs. Bedlow Dennis's intervention. And he wrote back to us and said, look, if the assembly, we asked him to pay some prizes and so on. And he said, if the assembly's policy is that they're not going to pay any prizes, then he doesn't want to get involved there so that, you know, to contradict whatever the assembly is doing. But I beg to differ, but that was his position.
So why is he taking any signal from the assembly?
Well, I don't know. He met with the I think John Arnold and whoever else. I don't know. I don't know what the discussion entailed. But that was his response to us. And I don't understand why he would be dictated to by the assembly when he's under the national umbrella.
Exactly.
Not the assembly's umbrella.
That's the NCC.
Yes.
And they get funding from the government of Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you very much. So I don't understand why he said what he said, but we just had to go along with it. There was nothing else we can do.
Yeah. So what might be your closing comment this morning, Ms. Bedlow? It seems that we'll have to come back to you all not too long from now to get a progress report on what will happen or not happen in Tobago in these 2 days coming up.
My closing comment is I hope that the authority meet with me again, but mostly I want to meet with the chief secretary. That's the money man. He have the purse. He's the secretary of finance. Besides, he is the chief secretary. I have all respect for him, you know, all respect. But I'm not trying to bash anybody or bring down anybody. I want him to hear my view and what the band leaders have requested me to do. We need more funding to put with the... Now, I could work with 2.5 for now, because they say they have no money. No, you have no money.
You said 2.5, but the figure here is 1.3.
Sir?
You say 2.5, but the figure here is 1.3. So there's a possibility that we'll get to 2.5.
Yes, because I cannot work with 1.3. I could work with 2.5.
All right, I see what you mean.
So I hope the secretary, good morning, ma'am. If you are listening, President, good morning. And also the chief secretary, I hope someone meet with me this week because I have to give the band leaders a response by Monday.
All right, thank you very much. So you get the final word on this, Ms. Job.
Actually, the chairman, I go with the sentiments of my chairman, and I have been instructed not to rework the budget until we hear that we have $2.5 million. If we have $2.5 million, then I will go back to the drawing board and rework the budget, because $30,000 for our first prize is not exorbitant. So I'll just wait on her and we'll go back to the drawing board. I hope though that we can really enjoy the mother of all carnivals, and eventually Tobago Mass band leaders, we would look at ways and means of making our own money and so on. But for now, for this 2023 here, $2.5 million is what the chairman says. $2.5 million is what I will work with once the assembly decides to give us that amount.
Well, it's good to see you and it's good to hear from you. You're the former Eugene Job Davis and Eugene Job, Deputy Chairman, and Gemma Bedlow, Chairman of the Tobago Carnival Mass Bands Association. We will check back with you all at an appropriate time in days to come. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much. Blessed morning.
Right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, stay with us here. We will be back in a moment. This is AM Prime at WESN.
At Belgroves, celebrating life is our commitment with integrity, compassion, and dignity for your loved ones. Belgroves Funeral Home and Crematorium, serving Trinidad and Tobago for over a century.
With society plagued by a host of issues, with debates surrounding our urgent concerns falling short, with questions of our future not always being answered,
the conversation continues. Join me, Kemuel Pascal, as the voice of the youth comes to life. We will confront the controversial topics of today's world to gain answers that are key for a better tomorrow. One and One with me, Kemuel Pascal, Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Only on WESN, Content Capital.
Join me, Sule A. Joseph, as I delve into the day-to-day psychological issues plaguing our society. We will discuss behaviors that encompass the biological influences, social pressures, and environmental factors that affect how you think, act, and feel. Sight, Thursdays at 11:30 a.m., only on WESN, Content Capital.
On the next episode of Nicole Larson Live, living in victory every day.
I lived with my dad at the time, so what is he going to say? He has invested so much into me and into my studies and where I was going in life, and then to come to him with these news. So the first thing I did legit after finding out I was pregnant was actually trying to make a call to see how I could get rid of it.
Which is that we shouldn't condemn others for the mistakes that they would have made.
Whether it's your savings or the business savings, deduct a small amount
first and set it aside for a rainy day.
Replaying situations in your mind, questioning yourself if you did or said something wrong, pushes you right into the circle of anxiety.
From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, I will sing of the goodness of God.
No matter what they say, living in victory every day.
Nicole Lawson Live, living in victory every day. Every Sunday at 8 p.m. and Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. on WESN.
Welcome back to the program. Well, we'll take you up to the top of the hour with this international piece here. From herding sheep to sailing across the Atlantic at 30 years old, former shepherd Sibusiso Sizatu is preparing to compete in the 17th edition of the Cape to Rio sailing race, which kicks off on Monday. It's a South Africa story.
Sibusiso Sizatu was already 9 years old when he laid eyes on the ocean for the first time. 20 years later, this former shepherd is about to set sail on the journey of a lifetime, a cross-Atlantic race from Cape Town to Rio de Janeiro. A dream come true for the South African skipper, who's had to convince his share of doubters over the years, starting with his own family.
Up until today, they still don't understand what I'm doing. Like, the only thing they ask, are you earning something? Are you working? Is that work?
Growing up in a local township, Sizatu long saw sailing as an expensive hobby for rich white people. But when a boating academy took him to sea for the first time as part of a program for disadvantaged youth, the young man fell in love with the ocean. He now captains his own crew of 5 and hopes his achievements can help inspire others to follow their dreams, even when the odds are stacked against them.
To those who didn't believe that a guy like me, who come from the rural area to a township, can actually skip a boat across the ocean to Rio. But hopefully in the future, the timing is going to be more people of color joining the sport.
Sizatu and his crew were making final preparations before setting sail on Monday. They'll be one of 15 teams competing in the Cape to Rio race, a nearly 7,000-kilometer journey across the Atlantic Ocean.
Here's this other story. The U.S. President Joe Biden walked a muddy stretch of the U.S.-Mexico border and inspected a busy port of entry Sunday on his first trip to that region after 2 years in office.
At the epicenter of a migrant crisis which shows little sign of slowing. On Sunday, President Joe Biden made his first visit to the U.S.-Mexico border since becoming president 2 years ago. His trip began in El Paso, Texas, where he met border guards at one of the busiest entry points for migrants into the U.S. The number of migrants crossing the border has surged during President Biden's first 2 years in office, with a record-breaking 2.4 million arrests recorded in 2022. Republicans have spent months attacking President Biden on border security, including Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
The chaos that his refusal to enforce the border laws has caused in the state of Texas. I told him how thousands of Texans have lost their lives, that tens of thousands of Texans have had their lives destroyed by his open border policies.
In the face of rising political pressure, the president announced last week that his administration would deny asylum to people from Cuba, Nicaragua, Venezuela and Haiti if they crossed the Mexican border without authorization. But as a concession, the White House also presented a pathway to entry for up to 30,000 migrants from those 4 countries, providing they meet several requirements. Finding common ground with the Mexican president, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, on migration will be a key goal for the US president as he attends a North American summit in Mexico City.
And we'll be back after the news at 7. This is AM Prime here on WESN. Stay with us.
is your WESN News on the Hour. I am Marquise Akers. Thanks for joining us. Here are the headlines. Attorney says presidential nomination within the Constitution. Sangre Grande man fined $30,000 for possession of gun ammo. Tuco confirms plans well on the way for Tobago Carnival. And internationally, satellite images capture crowding at China's crematoriums and funeral homes as COVID surge continues. Now for the details. Attorney Martin George says the move to nominate Christine Kangaloo to the post of president is not an illegal one. This after several members of the opposition expressed their displeasure with government's pick.
At the outset, that there is nothing legally wrong with the government making such a choice. And in fact, such a view is fortified and in fact enshrined within our very own Constitution.
A 27-year-old man who pleaded guilty to firearm charges before a Sangre Grande magistrate was fined $30,000. Akim Purcell of Jacob Court, Northeastern Settlement, Sangre Grande, was given 6 months to pay the fine or face 6 years hard labor. He was arrested on January 7th following an early morning raid at his residence where personnel from the Sangre Grande and Valencia CID, Eastern Division Task Force and K9 Branch executed a search warrant for firearms and ammunition. During the search, the team of officers and K9 found a polymer 80 pistol, a Glock magazine and 11 rounds of 9mm ammunition. Tuco President Ainsley King says plans are well underway for Calypso and Carnival events in Tobago. He spoke with Tobago Channel 5 on the issue.
Tobago Zone Executive had discussions with the authorities here in Tobago, and plan is well on its way, right? So one could look forward to Calypso events in Tobago. Well, we had the Monarch in October, and what we are trying to do, because that period has demonstrated to be a better period for the sake of recognition, because when we go together with the National Carnival, Tobago normally stay in the shadows or in the dark. So we will like it was a trial, but we would like it to be successful. We would like it to be a calendar event throughout the years, because we have a lot of plans and we see it as a better way.
And internationally, satellite images taken over a number of Chinese cities have captured crowding and crematoriums and funeral homes as the country continues its battle with an unprecedented wave of COVID-19 infections following its dismantling of severe pandemic restrictions. The images taken in late December and early January shows a funeral home on the outskirts of Beijing, which appears to have constructed a brand new parking area, as well as lines of vehicles waiting outside of funeral homes. Well, that's news to the hour on WESN. I am Marquise Akers. Thanks for watching.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
The best birthday gifts are at dbesttoys.com. Shop for the best brands you love at the best prices, like VTech, Leapfrog, Fisher-Price, Play-Doh, Hot Wheels, Barbie, Cocomelon, LOL, Baby Alive, Crayola. Visit us in-store at Forces Flagship MacBean. Shop online now at dbesttoys.com. Order via call or WhatsApp at 32DBEST to order. And remember, we have the best toys at the best prices.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, the Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity, from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378, or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
With society plagued by a host of issues, with debates surrounding our urgent concerns falling short, with questions of our future not always being answered,
the conversation continues. Join me, Kemuel Pascal, as the voice of the youth comes to life. We will confront the controversial topics of today's world to gain answers that are key for a better tomorrow. One and One with me, Kemuel Pascal. Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Only on WESN Content Capital.
Is it politics? What is it? Is it that nobody cares about sports?
The kind of support that sport used to get in the past is no longer here.
The thing is, taking a knee doesn't mean that that's the only thing you're doing now.
Right.
Taking a knee along with other stuff.
Samantha, what are you looking forward to when you return home to Trinidad and Tobago after winning the title?
Thank you very much for speaking it into existence.
Is there no pressure on Nicholas Paul?
It makes me more motivated to work hard and to go out there and rep the red, white and black.
Why are we sending a team to the Winter Olympics?
There are a number of Trinbagonians who are in the diaspora and have grown up in winter sport. It's an opportunity that the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee will not close the door on.
I also believe in the players that we have. Once you can motivate the players, you can get the best out of them.
Welcome back to the program. Well, let's tell you this. After 2 years of being away physically due to the COVID-19 pandemic in our midst, the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce returned to its in-person annual Champions of Business Gala Awards and Cocktail Reception. That was held on November 24th at Napa in Port of Spain. The Champions of Business Gala Awards 2022 was themed Leadership and Legacy, and it highlighted the achievements of businesses and individuals who continue to take on the challenges of recovering from the pandemic and rebuilding the nation's economy. We have a couple of discussions that we want to have over the next couple of days with people who were winners. And the particular thing about it that I want to focus on a little bit with our guests this morning is that the winners tended to present a different face from what we generally expect would be the representation of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. We start those discussions on this edition of the program with these people, Anthony Henry and Junaan Henry. They are the people behind an organization called A&J Homemade Ice Cream, and they won one of those awards for entrepreneurship in Trinidad and Tobago. They are our guests at this time. Well, good morning to both of you.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
All right. So, but let me start with the lady first, Junaan Henry. Looking at the awards on the screen, and like I said in the introduction, it presented a different and a sort of more welcoming for a lot of people kind of a face of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Let me ask you, how did you feel about being cited and being profiled in the way that you were on that night? Let me start with you, Joanne. All right, but okay, sorry about that. Before we begin to talk, I want to show there's a video from the presentation and your responses on the night in question. We want to give our viewers a look at that before we get to you. So let's take a look at this.
My name is Anthony, and I run this business with my wife June, and that's what make up the A&J's in A&J's Homemade Ice Cream.
We started the business in 2017 with a table and a cooler, and then I think within a 3-month period we upgraded to a little tent, and then after that we got a kind of food cart, and then a year after we started selling ice cream we got our first storefront.
What makes our flavor unique is we handcraft each flavor.
We have the regular flavors, your coconut, your soursop, your peanut. Right now we have approximately 120 flavors that we create.
We just introduced our doubles ice cream, We also have things like ginger turmeric, charcoal coconut, our pineapple chow. We have 4 pepper flavors in total.
Our brand is basically a description of who we are. The family is a part of the business and the business is a part of our family. So it's not just about the ice cream. Our packaging is mainly biodegradable. We have a little book corner where customers can come in and they can just take a book, and customers also bring books in. So it's like a little library that we offer. We have an adult section and we have a little kids section. We also do a pop-up shop in store, so smaller businesses can come and they can sell their products and we don't charge for it.
We have our swing, we have our signage wall, which encourages customers to take pictures and post and tag us, which generate leads to our business.
We are actually in the process of opening a second location right now, and it is very stressful to obtain financing on behalf of the business.
When you're now starting a business, you don't have collateral. As the business is scaling, we reinvest all of our capital back into the business to help it grow. Within the next few years, our goal is to expand, begin distribution, and start exporting. We are looking into investments to take the brand regionally and internationally within the next few years. It feels amazing to be recognized for the Entrepreneurship Award.
All right, so the family is a part of the business and the business is a part of the family. Juna and Henry, let's talk a little bit more about that. What's the significance of that?
I'm sorry, we're not getting to hear you too clearly. We didn't get to hear the question.
Yeah, I'm saying I'm taking up on your point about the family being part of the business and the business is a part of the family.
You wanted to hear more about that?
Yeah. But that in a wider context.
Oh, okay. Well, basically, it kind of describes the way that we operate. Sometimes even some of the flavors that we create. Like our 6-year-old, she would be like, Mommy, Daddy, why don't you make like a chocolate and put blueberries in it? And, sometimes when customers come into the shop, our kids would be here, they would greet the customers. And there really is no separation between the business and our family.
Yeah, all right. Anthony, Henry, we had a discussion yesterday in the program with Dr. Ramesh Ramdeen. He's the CEO of the Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association, and I was saying to him that that awards function, what it did for people like myself is the Chamber presented a different face. When, decades ago, when people talk about the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce, we're talking about big business, we're talking about people who don't look like most of us. How surprised were you to find yourselves among the number of people who were profiled in this kind of way, winning this award for entrepreneurship by the Chamber of Commerce?
Yes, we were very surprised. It was an exciting experience. When we heard that we were nominated, we were very much happy, and then coming in and winning the award, it was unbelievable. It was a really, really amazing experience.
Yeah, talk with us a little bit about setting up this business and sort of persevering through those 2 traumatic years that we had to come out on the other side of that with this kind of recognition.
Yeah, so when we started very small. So when COVID hit, we had just opened our second branch in Hoover, and unfortunately we had to close that branch. But that didn't stop us. We kept pivoting and we kept adjusting to the customers' needs. And because we have a good support network with each other as well as an engaging customer base, we were able to pull through.
Yeah, and Dr. Ramdeen was making comments about the doubles ice cream. Juna, can you talk a little bit about that? Where did that idea come from, and how is it doing on the market?
Did you ask how has it been doing?
Yes.
The doubles is surprisingly popular, you know. Yeah, we have some people who are coming in and they want to try it because I mean we know everyone loves doubles. But then we have some people who are convinced they're like, oh my gosh, this is not going to be good. But I still have to taste it just in case. I have to know, you know, like for sure what it's going to be like.
Yeah. And Anthony said that at the time you all were working on a second branch, and you talked about at the function about launching is that the second branch, or are you into the third branch now somewhere else?
So we just opened a branch in the Brentwood Mall. Just early November. Yeah.
So that is our second branch, but initially the branch that Anthony was speaking about earlier, that was a branch that we opened in Hoover. That was just before the first lockdown, and unfortunately with the lockdown measures, you know, we eventually had to close that store. So the store that we recently opened at Brentwood, we can officially call that our second location.
Yeah, and are there plans for further expansion?
Yes, there is. Our aim is to open north, south. South wants us very bad, as well as the Port of Spain people. So our aim at the end of this year is to try to have locations in South and Port of Spain and enter the distribution market.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to go there, but one is curious about what are the probable stresses and strains on family life, or is family life more greater enhanced because of the business?
If it is?
It is challenging at times. Because we work together, it's also is where the real struggle comes in. And, you know, we have the kids a lot, so sometimes the hours is too much for them. But because we are very much involved with each other, it makes the struggle a little easier.
What was it on your side of the story, Junan?
It has its challenges and it has its benefits, you know. Having your business partner be somebody that is also, you know, your husband or your spouse, it's easier because if you're up at 12 o'clock at night and you have an idea, you can just discuss it with them without worrying about if you're waking them up or if you're disturbing them. But then on the other side of the coin, this person is also harassing you at 12 o'clock at night with an idea, you know. It has its challenges and its benefits.
Yeah. And I think on the night in question, one of you talked about the process about kicking around ideas, and when something comes to your head, how you bounce it off each other and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like with the salt prune ice cream, and one of our flavors called the coffee peanut crunch was just a morning we was making peanut ice cream and drinking coffee, and we said, hey, this would be a good idea, and it's a hit. A coffee peanut crunch is a hit.
A coffee peanut punch.
Yeah.
So where to from here? I mean, you all would continue to search for unique things about this brand and keep bringing stuff out.
Definitely. And our customers make it easy for us because, you know, they're always suggesting new things that they would like us to try. Just last night, someone messaged and asked us about something that they saw when they were overseas, if we could recreate something like that. So there are always ideas coming forth.
Okay. And you take them on board. You remain open to creativity and trying new things and so on.
For sure.
For sure.
Yeah. I want to go back a little bit about what were some of the tensions that you all faced with the COVID and what it did to business activity in the country. At some point, you must have felt sort of depressed and sort of wondering what will happen. That's so?
It was it was scary, the not knowing what is happening and also not knowing what is going to happen, because it's not just dealing with COVID as it happens, but also wondering when or if this abates, what is going to happen next? Because, businesses reopened, but we aren't functioning in the same way. People are still afraid. There are still people recovering financially. So it's not the same, and it's scary and it's challenging, but we would definitely just keep pivoting and keep trying to understand our customers so that we can meet the market.
And you're doing that thus far?
Yeah.
Anthony, is the sky the limit, or there are horizons that you will have that you're not going to go further than this, you're not going to higher than this, you're not going to go deeper into it, and so on? You have set some boundaries as to how to keep it small, or you want to expand as much as that is possible?
So our I would say the sky is the limit. Yes. Initially, when we started, we had gave ourselves some goals to achieve, and we had achieved those goals. The expansion and everything that we aim for is to ensure that A&J has become a household name and a family brand that people can love and trust and enjoy.
How far away from that you think is this? But you're getting sense that you are becoming a household name already?
So I would say we are on the right track, as we have some customers, their kids ask for A&Js, and I think that is the start of becoming a household brand. When the kids say, "Mommy, Daddy, I want A&Js."
Yeah. There's a question from one of our crew here. Wants to find out about how you'll make the barra for the devil's ice cream.
If we tell you, we'll have to kill you. No, not really.
That's a trade secret. So you're gonna have the last word, Junan. Anything you want to say about this kind of profile? I mean, so you're more noticeable when you move about. People see you, and what did they say to you?
Sometimes what we get is, "Oh my gosh, you're the doubles people."
And then we have people like, "Oh, we read about you all just the other day." And it's the same people we just see on TV.
Yeah.
So people are noticing the brand is getting some recognition beyond our natural reach.
All right, and you hope to build on that and continue to go for higher heights.
Yes.
All right, Junan and Anthony Henry, owners and operators of A&J Homemade Ice Cream, the Entrepreneur of Awards winners at the last awards function of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Thank you all very much, and all success in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will take a break and be back here. Stay with us.
What's the best way to grab the attention of viewers?
Please exercise more patience. You have to be kidding me.
Doing what we do best. I'll say at the very least it's a conspiracy of laziness against the people.
Join me, Keaton Shaw.
And me, Sean Michael Small, for Talking Point.
Weekdays from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m.
We go in-depth on the trending issues and engage the most controversial newsmakers
as we get them to account to the people for their actions.
You can't go to the government with nothing. You can't go to cabinet with an empty hand, with a wish.
I'm glad that we're having this a sober, mature discussion.
In the present situation, I expect a continuation of the chaos.
Join us for the discussion, Mondays to Fridays,
only on WESN,
the content capital.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website, fanzonett.com, to make your purchase today.
Inspire, motivate, encourage, hope. It's about topical issues. It's about everything that you would want to know about hope, about life. At the end, you're going to say, yes, if he can do it, I can do it too. If she can, I can do it too.
No matter what they say, living in victory every day.
Nicole Lawson Live, living in victory every day. Every Sunday at 8 p.m. and Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. on WESN.
Welcome back. Well, before we go, we ask you to watch this. This is about 73-year-old Floella Benjamin, a recipient of the British Order of Merit. And Baroness Benjamin has been on television there for many decades. A fan to many people watching television in the UK. Take a look at this.
Now, from a child of the Windrush generation trying to find her feet in Beckenham to a seat in the House of Lords, Baroness Floella Benjamin has had an incredible life. And today she became the first black Caribbean woman to be awarded the Order of Merit, a special honour from the King, saying she hoped it would show people from all backgrounds that anything is possible. She spoke to Helen Keenan.
A royal honour for distinguished service that has now become much more diverse. 4 of the 6 new members of the Order of Merit are from ethnic minorities. At a lunch today hosted by King Charles, including Baroness Floella Benjamin, the first black Caribbean woman to be awarded the honour.
I'd love my mum and dad to be here today just to see the fruits of their labour, to celebrate with me. And I just feel I'm one of the first black women to be included in the Order of Merit. The first Trinidadian woman, the first Caribbean woman, the first Windrush generation to be included, and it's absolutely incredible.
Here in the window box we watch the world go by. A rather handsome daffodil and a rose who's rather shy.
During her career, she not only became one of the first black children's TV presenters, hosting Play School,
My lords,
she also entered the House of Lords and given the title Baroness Benjamin of Beckenham.
Baroness Benjamin for services to charity.
In 2020, she was made a dame, collecting her medal at Buckingham Palace, which she received for over 40 years of charitable work. As it was during COVID, she couldn't shake hands with the now king, but today more than made up for it.
Today we had a deep conversation about diversity, about inclusion, about all the work that he's done in the past, and and all the work he wants to do for the future to make our country feel all inclusive, all embracing, and to celebrate each other's culture and each other's differences. And this is to show children of my generation, people of my generation, children of the future, that anything is possible.
Another accolade to add to her long list of honours.
And that's our broadcast on this edition of the program. We tell you, as always, stay here with us. You can get in touch with us at AM Prime at WESNCC on all our social media platforms. You could send your emails to amprime at wesncc.com. And we remind you as well that in half an hour, we'll have news at the top of the hour again, followed by today's edition of Talking Point with Shah and Small. Let's just show you what's on the front page of the Newsday newspaper. This edition, that's on the front page. That's the back of it. And this is what is happening in the Newsday Tobago, front and back. I'm Andy Johnson. Thanks for watching. We see you tomorrow.